All right, can you hear me? Hey, Julie, you want to grab your phone and see if you can hear me? Yeah. Do. Alex says he can hear. Yay! Alright, so what we're doing is finishing up the Thranta Corvette. And getting it ready for 3D printing, which we'll show here in a little bit. So this is what we've got. It's basically an Old Republic version of the Hammerhead Corvette. It came first in the lore, because you see it in Knights of the Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic 2. So, yeah. Alright, so we're going to add a few details on one side and then mirror them to the other side. But this is mostly done. We might want to play around with things like maybe make the hammerhead bigger. But we will get there when we get there. Okay, so first off, we've created this channel right here. So we want to sketch in it and give it some greeblies. And mostly what I've done with that is used just circles, and I'll cheat and I'll give it a pattern, and then we duplicate the pattern, and then we sketch a few more details in here. Maybe make an oval. That's actually not that big. We don't really want it touching. And then we could do things like add a pipe, which we'll do. So to do that, what we do is we first select where we want the pipe to come from, and we're going to say sketch here, and we can't see. That basically gives us a head-on for that, but we are drawing on this tiny little panel here, and we're going to have a pipe like that. So we select the pipe, we go to sweep, and we go boop. Now we grab all these things and we rise them up. Bloop, 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 bloop. 0.3 millimeters is probably the lowest you want to go. You could definitely go higher, and you could do things to edit the shapes to like fillet the edges, or make them rounded with a chamfer. Boop, boop, boop. Like that. And then on the bottom, I think we're going to sketch on here, and then probably add some panels. There doesn't need to be a lot of detail on here because it's the underside, right? And then in this section right here, we're going to add the frigate peg when we go to get this ready for 3D printing. So we're going to make these bigger, 0.4. We're going to put them in like so. And I think kind of, oh, we need to attach that pipe to the body with a union. Sometimes that gives us a hard time. It didn't that time. I think Let's grab an image of the Thranta. Images. I'm looking at the images and I am seeing that it definitely looks like the hammerhead is bigger than the engine section of the ship. And ours is, but I think we can do a little bit bigger. So what we're going to do is we're first going to split the body from this panel. Okay, that's going to make a mess, but we'll see how we do. And then we're going to non-uniform scale. We're going to make it a little bit longer. And then just a little skosh taller. And move that there. See how that does. And we're going to union those together. They must not be touching because union is not an option. Yeah, there's apparently a little gap. I think actually what we want to do is try and do that cleaner. So we're going to try and union it from, or split body. I think from here. How does that look? So if we grab that and then make it just a little bit bigger. And then put it out, grab this, align that. Let's see if it does it right. Okay, I think we do want it a little longer. Is that too long? Yeah, I think that's a little too long. Let's grab another 10%. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So let's see if we can line up the pipes a little bit. That little seam in the pipe. 0.05. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it's not perfect, but you have to remember that this thing is going to be like 60 millimeters long. Union is an option. Okay, so now what we want to do hold on just a second. Just realized that my join announcement said loin us, not join us. That may have scared off some people. We're not sure. Okay, so we're not done with this. We are kind of, but we're not super done with it yet. I think we probably want to have some other details. Let's put an octagon here. And pull it out. And then let's clean up that edge a little bit. When you are modeling for 3D printing, you should probably consider that people are going to have to put it on their printer and make sure that it actually prints. And that can be a problem if you have just like flat, straight panels. I'll show you what I mean in a little bit. We're going to copy this. Bring it right there. Okay. So we're going to do this. We're going to sketch. We're going to put a rectangle there. And a circle there. And we're going to say these guys go out. And this guy goes out. Does it look better in? No, definitely want it out. And then grab these edges and there we go. Okay, so that's on the one side. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to draw a line down the center of this thing. Let's get a very edge and draw a line. We're going to get rid of all this. Boop. 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 And bloop. All right. Delete. And we're going to grab this guy and we're going to hit mirror. Bam. Now all the details we did on the one side are on the other side. And we can hit union. Let's take a look. Do we want other details added? So we're going to delete. We're going to go back. I'm going to continue to add more details on here. This is a small thing. No one's going to see this, but I think this would be better served if we had more panels here. Trim, 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 rectangle. It's dumb, but you know, people definitely notice these kinds of things. Oh. Move. Yeah. Move. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. Maybe nobody notices. But, you know, with 3D printing, when selling 3D prints, you know, people are going to notice some details. Why is that not? Oh, it's because it's touching those. Okay. Exit. I guess we really can't do much here. At least not with these shapes. That is going to be a problem, I think. Let's see. Whoop, whoop. Okay, let's sketch here. We're going to thank you, Mon, for placing an order on our Etsy store. Sketch. I think on this side we're going to do circles. Grab that guy, move him all the way over here. Then we're going to select him and pattern and go like that. I'm going to say probably 10. Okay, now select all these guys. Bring them out. Chamfer them. Turn them into that. Well, I think we are asking for trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect them all together. The thought process behind doing this is making sure that we're not creating a problem for 3D printers. By making something that has to be individually supported a whole bunch of times. We don't want to do that. Woo! Camera, come on. Okay, over, down, then like that. Like that. And grab it. Tell that to Union. There we go. Right here. We are building our list for what we're going to try and model next year, by the way. So if you have any thoughts about what you would like to see appear in our store, or what you would like to see 3D modeled, we'd love suggestions. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hit extrude, take that there. Whoop. Then we're going to select this face, and hit extrude, take it over here. Actually, let's try offsetting that edge and see if it does better. Or offsetting the face. That takes the whole thing over there. I guess that's okay. Okay. Make sure everything's connected. None of these guys are connected, so we should select them. And hit union. I bet that gives us a problem. It didn't. Awesome. Okay. So, I think that's all we've got for... Oh, that did not mirror. Okay, can we move it? And then copy, union. Okay, now it's the same thing. Okay, so now we're gonna union or mirror it. Bam. And union. Can we curve this at all? Curve this at all? Just thinking about 3D printing. Alrighty. Alright, well, let's pop this. Let's save it. I'm going to grab 3D Builder. I'm going to open up Shaper on my computer. And then we're going to switch to that. I'm going to exit out of the menu there. We're going to hit that. So when we export files from Shaper 3D, what we do is we export them to STL, we send them to our folder that we send all of our stuff to, and we name it Thranta Raw. Okay, then we open it up in 3D Builder. Alrighty, so first things first, we only want the top one because the top one is the one with the details that we've added. So we're going to say split, we're going to keep top. Based on its size, so its size ended up being 70.46 millimeters. I don't know if that's the size we want. Okay, so there's a couple different ways to figure this out. If you take the reported length, okay, so if we go to Wikipedia, Thranta class warcruiser or Corvette, not the warcruiser, according to Wikipedia, it doesn't have a length. Okay. Close Shaper. We want to insert, add, load object. I'm going to go to our parts. I'm going to grab Armada, frigate peg. Frigate stand is how it's named, even though it's a peg. So there's that. Take it off of scale. We're going to turn it 90 degrees. And then we're going to bring it all the way back. Loop. Okay. And I think we're going to make this guy 75 millimeters. And we're basing that on what I think other accepted people or work has happened. And they call it a Corvette, but I'm definitely not going to say that something that's 75 millimeters in Armada is a Corvette. It's probably more frigate sized. Okay, like that. Make sure it's back a little bit. And we're going to group those. And we're going to save as Thranta in Pulse-Fired Gaming Armada. Alright, so the next step is opening up 3D or Chitubox. And we need to tell where is Chitubox? Chitu Manager? No? Oh, is this that thing where it, yeah, there we go. Okay, so we need to turn that on, turn that off. Can you see that? Trying to figure out this streaming bullshit. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. game capture, capture any full screen application. And it's blank. Window capture. Oh. All right, there we go. Okay, so we're going to be printing some tie borders from Ravensfell a little bit later. And let's grab our new Thranta Armada. Now we're going to put that in there. And we're going to put it next to the Hammerhead Corvette that Phil did, the Thranta class. And it's definitely bigger, which is good. I think that's our goal. Let's put this next to the Hammerhead Cruiser that we did earlier, since this is a don't stop talking, Brandon. So we'll add the terminus. Alright, so there's a contemporary to it. And then we're going to add the Hammerhead Cruiser, which we called right there. So the Thranta is about the same size as the Hammerhead. It's faster. Hammerhead is an earlier design of ours. Thranta is a newer design. I think looking at this, we're going to need to do something about the weapons. Because the weapons will print. But they're probably, I mean, they've got this big connection point in the front. And they're connected together. I don't know. Something tells me that we're going to have a problem with these. So we're going to go into Mesh Mixer. And we're going to play around with it. Let's see if this wants to go to Mesh Mixer. Nope. Game capture. Game capture wants Mesh Mixer, right? Yes, it does. Okay, turn that on. Turn this off. And can you actually see that? I don't think you can. Why is this? There it goes. There it goes. Let's transform this, and there we go. So, what we're going to do is we're going to select the gun from here back. Make sure you're only grabbing what you want to grab. Y to split it off. Y to split it off. And then let's go. Oh. $1.25. Let's see, does that match? $1.2. Whoa! 1.2. There we go. Okay, so we can select them both now. Scale on 1.2. There we go. When they're selected together, it's going to scale even their distance, and you don't really want that. Now we can select them both, move them forward. Now let's make sure it makes it easy to isolate those parts, but we're going to stitch them back together in 3D Builder. Looks like we want to go forward just a little bit. Okay, now combine all these, and since we have changed it, we want to probably preserve the original, so we're going to call this Thranta Armada T. Okay, it's saved. Let's go to window capture again, 3D Builder, turn this off, turn that on. And is it going to show up? Hello? Okay, so I had to close out and then reopen it, and it worked just fine. Let's transform this, fit the screen. Okay, so I'm going to load object. You go Thranta Armada. You notice that the file size ballooned to 133 megs. It's probably not 133 megs, but it's pretty close with the meg to kilobyte. Yeah, so this larger size gun I think definitely works better. And so we're going to let Windows 3D Builder cook for a little bit. We're going to let it repair. And then we will get this thing. You know, so 3D Builder on the back end I think is NetFab. So it's got a like the Autodesk auto repair feature in it. You can see the little, see if we can get a better color. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so it finished, so we're going to hit save. You can see the little details we did. We put in a little hanger, some windows next to the hanger, the hatch guy on here, the details we did on top and on bottom. The kind of central tubes are all kind of bland, but it is what it is. And then the forward section, we'll hit save. And then we'll click over to can you guys see that? Fit the screen. Oh, that's not what we want. Okay, there we go. Alright, so this is the original. And we're going to pop the T. So you notice it went from 133 megs to 25. That's the difference. So you can see that the guns are a little bit bigger. Okay, so Let's grab this and let's see what opinion auto orientation has. So auto orientation is telling us to print it from the butt. So if we're going to print it from the butt, we want to make sure that all the little greebles on the back are supported. If they're not, they won't show up. So we're going to hit auto supports and see what it gives us. And it gives us some details, but not others. This is fun. Let's go in here and make sure that... Actually, okay, so you notice that there's this lip right here, right? Let me put a little support by it. So this lip right here, when the printer goes to print each of these fins on the model, it's gonna have the basis of the lip first. That means we definitely need to support the lip. And some of this stuff is going to be dangling. So the ones on the top, I think, will be fine. Maybe. I don't know. Let's just go in and throw the supports on. Alright, so that's covered. Let's be a little more judicious and just hit that. That. Okay, alright, so make sure all the greebles are supported. So that one's got this little one. We'll put that right there. If you get a model from us or from anyone and it looks like it has details that are kind of washed out, the details were facing the screen and weren't entirely supported. It happens. 3D printing is a fun hobby for people. It's not exact for everybody. Okay, so let's go about and see if there's anything else that we need to make sure gets supported. The dish looks like it's going to be okay. We're going to put one on the edge and in the middle and right there. The guns, blasters, and we're going to throw something right there. That's perfect. Grab those details right there. And boop, there we go. That should be fine. That should be good. Want to make sure there's at least one support on the, or at least two supports on the peg. And right there. And right there. And right there. Make sure the very edge has got a support on it, because that's where it's going to start printing. It's right at the very edge. All right. I think this is fine. I think this will print up just pretty well. So let's go in here. We'll finish up this plate. We're going to print 5 of these to start with. And then, so this is the Tri boarding craft from Ravensfell. We're gonna do our normal process. We're gonna hit auto support, see what it does. I think we want to print this from, can we, if you keep hitting auto orientation, it'll give you more options, but sometimes the options don't get better. I think this is probably the best option to go with. So I'm going to hit auto support, see what it does. Let's get a support right there. Alright, so on here, we want that supported. We want that supported. And then make sure that the engines are supported. And I think that will be good. Boop. Boop. And boop. Okay, that should be good. And we're going to print 64 of those. Actually, we should do 64, 65, 66. Okay. Now we're going to tell Chitubox. And from the chat, Alex Pearson says 133 meg file size. That's rookie numbers. No, that's amateur numbers. If your file size is bigger than that for 3D printing, you are doing it wrong. And you have too many polygons, and you should throw it in a program to reduce the polygons without significantly reducing your quality. So it's going to turn red if it thinks that it's touching, but as you can see, these two guys aren't touching. They're just really close together. So that's why it's triggered being red. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange this a little bit to get further away from the edges, because the auto layout tool, which is a fabulous tool, by the way, no shade to the auto layout tool, but we don't want to overhang that much. So go like that. We're actually going to turn this boy that way and suck him in closer. And we're going to go like that. And yeah, that should be good. So this is the end of the process for the Thranta. We'll do the test print and then find out if it prints well, make sure all the details are there. And if it prints well, you'll see it on our Etsy store and printedstarships.com. If you don't see it too soon, that means we either forgot about it, which absolutely happens all of the time, or there were some problems and we needed to re-support it, or something like that. But in any case, this is not the last stream that we're going to do of the year. We got a couple more ships that we want to design. And we also have to showcase. We have to start going back to showcasing and channel giveaways. You know, we used to give away starships all the time, and then we stopped because we stopped making YouTube content about new stuff that's coming out. But new stuff has not stopped coming out, so maybe we should start showing people what's going on in video format. In any case, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time. And if you have ideas of what you want to see modeled in our channel with our very novice skill in modeling, tell us in the comments so we know what's going on.